General of the Nigerian Insurance Association in 2010. Advocacy group Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project (SERAP) has sent an appeal to President Muhammadu Buhari to urgently instruct the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami San to work with appropriate ministries and agencies to identify, publish, and use confiscated stolen assets as isolation centers. SERAP made the appeal in a letter to the federal government signed by the Deputy Director Kolawole Oluwadare. The group stated that while it is important to ramp up testing for COVID-19 to prevent the spread of the virus, asking Nigerians to donate their buildings as isolation centers would be counterproductive, as it would put them at greater risk of contracting and spreading the virus. SERAP, however, suggested that using confiscated assets as isolation centers would provide safe and enabling environments for the treatment and care of people, improve the authorities' ability to respond to COVID-19, reduce the risk to Nigerians and to public health. The Minister of Health, Osage Hanire, had reportedly begged Nigerians to donate and temporarily make their buildings available as isolation centers, as the Nigerian Center for Disease Control (NCDC) aims to test 2 million people in the next 3 months. Copied in the letter are Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami, Minister of Health Osage Hanire, NCDC DG Chikwe Ihekwazu, Chairman of ICPC Professor Bolaji Owasanoye, and the acting chairman of EFCC, Ibrahim Magu. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Union of Allied Health Professionals has advised President Muhammadu Buhari to reverse the decision to relax measures on COVID-19 lockdown, which takes effect from Monday. National President of the Nigerian Union of Allied Health Professionals, Obinna Obonna, and General Secretary Martin Egbanubi, in a statement said relaxation of the lockdown is premature and is capable of eroding all the gains so far made in the fight against COVID-19. The new union demanded the immediate reversal of the decision by federal government to relax lockdown in Abuja, Lagos, and Ogun states, procurement of more testing kits and establishment of more isolation centers. Nigerian Union of Allied Health Professionals also said a decision to call for the reversal of the president's order was based on its observation in the last few days concerning increase in the number of infected persons, number of deaths, and testing capacities. This comes days after the Nigerian Medical Association (NMA) kicked against the president's decision to ease the lockdown, saying that it is capable of worsening the situation. President Muhammadu Buhari had in his last broadcast approved the implementation of a phased and gradual easing of the lockdown order in Lagos, Ogun State, and the Federal Capital Territory. The Central Bank of Nigeria and the banks in the country have agreed to suspend the planned sack of workers in the banking sector as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. A decision was reached at a meeting called between the CBN and the Bankers Committee in Abuja. Director Corporate Communications of CBN, Isaac Okorafor, said the committee particularly deliberated on the issue of the operating cost of banks in view of the disruptions emanating from the global economic difficulties, and it decided as follows. Okorafor added that in order to help minimize and mitigate the negative impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on families and livelihoods, no bank in Nigeria shall retrench or lay off any staff of any cadre, including full-time and part-time workers. In the same vein, the Nigerian Center for Disease Control has expressed fears that the number of coronavirus cases in the country will continue to rise for the next few months. NCDC dropped the hint amidst the easing of the lockdown on the Federal Capital Territory, Lagos, and Ogun State. Director General NCDC Chikwe Ihekwazu, in an interview with newsmen in Abuja, said the number of cases are likely to increase given the increasing capacity to find and test more cases. Ihekwazu said strategy of the NCDC is to test quickly, detect confirmed cases, isolate and manage cases to recovery, and follow up with contact to reduce the risk of spread, which may be a little more complex from tomorrow, which is today, Monday. The NCDCDG noted that his team and many others across the country were working hard, adding that the state government and their care facilities were providing care for all those infected. The Lagos state government has emphasized that the 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew declared by President Muhammadu Buhari will be enforced today. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu made the emphasis while explaining the approach the state government is using to ease the lockdown. Governor Sanwo-Olu said the state is doing its best to reduce the exposure of Lagosians to COVID-19.
The gradual unlocking tomorrow, there's a curfew for emphasis state, which I did mention to them, is from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. on a daily basis. And it's important for them to take this message back home. All movements in Lagos are prohibited except for people on essential services. Also to give an amendment to our earlier speech, we had said that the public service from grade level in the entire unified public service from grade level 1 to 12 will be staying at home. We've had to review our position, and we've actually now